My beloved son, I am here in your room. I'm exactly in the place where you believed no one could enter. I am where your tears fell silent, where your deepest thoughts were hidden from everyone, where you smiled at the world as your soul cried for help. I never left this place empty. While you thought you were alone, I stood by your side, watching every breath, collecting every tear, and knowing every word you could never say. I know the tiredness that no one notices. I know the weight you carry without showing it. I know the nights when his body rested, but his mind remained restless. I know the questions you asked only within the heart. Before they were even born in your thoughts, I had already heard them. You think you are standing still, but I tell you that nothing has remained still. As your eyes looked at circumstances that look the same, I was already working on the invisible parts of your life. Just as a seed grows underground without making a sound, I am already strengthening roots that will sustain you in the days to come. You can't see the roots as they grow, but that doesn't mean they don't exist. The invisible always prepares the visible. As you listen to me now, I am already healing areas of your soul that even you did not know were still wounded. I am removing old fears that have lurked within your heart for many years. I'm bringing light to places that have remained dark for far too long. What seemed like just another ordinary day is already being transformed by my presence. Remember what is written. But when you pray, go into your room, and when the door is shut, you shall pray to your Father who is in secret, and your Father who sees in secret will reward you. Matthew 6:6. The bedroom has never been just a place of walls. It has always been a place of encounter between me and you. There's a reason why you've come to this message today. Nothing happened by chance. I led his steps to this moment because his soul needed to hear what his heart had almost forgotten. And before this message ends, I will reveal something that your soul needs to remember, something that will change the way you see every silence, every weight, and every tear you have experienced. Stay with me, because what you have called absence has always been the place where I have been most present. Now stay with me, because there are still truths you haven't seen. I will reveal why so many doors closed without this being an abandonment. I will show you why the silence that so disturbed your heart was the place where I worked the most. You will understand the meaning of the invisible roots that I have already strengthened within you, and you will discover that your waiting has never been wasted time. If this word has already spoken to your heart, write Amen in the comments as a statement of your faith. Also like this message and subscribe to this channel to continue receiving the words that I prepare to strengthen your journey. Don't go now. In the last minutes of this message, I have something special to reveal to you, something that will make you look at your history with new eyes and recognize that I have remained by your side all along, even when you have not been able to perceive my presence. My son, there is something that I need you to see with the eyes of the soul. You think that closed doors have hindered my presence, but I tell you that no door built by the hands of men can stop him who knows the way of the heart. I enter where fear cannot enter. I remain where hope seems to have gone away. I walk through the quietest places in your life, because it is precisely there that you can hear me most clearly. Do you remember the times when you closed your bedroom door just to hide your tears? I was there. When you believed that no one understood the weight you carried, I was already sustaining your soul. You think you have endured it all alone, but I tell you that if you are still standing, it is because my hands were already holding you before you even knew it. While your thoughts were telling you that everything was over, I was already planting new roots within you. Just as a seed disappears into the ground before it breaks through the ground, so too has it passed through a hidden place. You called that time of loneliness, but I call it invisible growth. The roots do not make noise when they grow, but they are the ones that support the tree when the strongest winds arrive. You think that fear has closed all paths, but I tell you that fear has never had the authority to close that which I had already opened within your soul. Fear speaks loudly, but my presence speaks deeper. Fear shows the darkness of the night, while I am already turning on a light that your eyes are still learning to perceive. That's why, even without understanding everything. There's something inside you that keeps telling you to move on. It is me speaking in the deepest place of your heart. Remember what I said in my word, and behold, I am with you always, even to the end of the world. Matthew 28:20. I didn't say that I would only be in the days of joy. I said it every day, on the days you smiled and the days you cried silently, on the days when your faith seemed strong and also on those when you could just breathe and keep going. As you listen to this message, I am already opening within you a door that has never been on the outside. It is a door of peace, of understanding, and of rest in my presence. It has always existed, but the noise of worries prevented you from noticing it. Now your soul begins to see that which has always been before you. My son, if this word has touched your heart, write Amen in the comments, because this act of faith I hear. My child, remain a little longer in my presence, because I need to reveal that which for a long time has been hidden from your eyes. You thought that silence was my absence, but I tell you that it was exactly in this silence that I was working in the deepest parts of your soul. You looked up to the sky expecting an immediate answer, while I was already restoring places within you that no words could reach. Not every work needs noise to happen. The greatest transformations begin where only I can enter. You think you have wasted time waiting, but I tell you that every moment of seeming stillness was preparing the ground of your heart. Just as the seed remains hidden before it breaks through the earth, so too did your soul go through a time when everything seemed immovable. However, underneath the surface, I was already strengthening roots that no one could see. You saw only the closed land. I saw life growing. You think my silence meant distance, but I tell you I was closer than ever. As her tears fell on the pillow, I was already collecting each one of them. As you repeated the same questions, I was already calming thoughts that for years had held your peace. What you called delay was the care of a father who knows the right time for every detail to blossom. Look at the dawn. Before the first ray of light appears, the night has already begun to lose its strength, so it also happens within you. Before your eyes notice any change, I am already illuminating your consciousness. Clarity begins in the invisible. It is there that my presence first touches. Then little by little, everything around you begins to reflect what I have already accomplished within your soul. You think you need to feel something extraordinary to know that I am present, but I tell you that my presence often manifests itself in the peace that comes without explanation, in the courage that is born in a tired heart, and in the hope that insists on remaining when everything seems otherwise. It's me supporting you without making a fuss. It is me breathing hope within your soul as fear tries to convince you otherwise. That is why I say in my word, be still and know that I am God. Psalm 46:10. When you quiet your heart, you begin to realize that I have never stopped speaking. Silence did not hide my voice. He pushed away the noises that prevented you from recognizing her. Now, as you continue to listen to me, I am already opening your spiritual eyes to see what has always been before you. My son, write, Lord, I believe. And by liking this video, you take this word to another child who also needs to hear that he is not alone. My child, now allow me to lead your heart to look at your own history in a different way. You think that the place where you are defines your destination. But I tell you that the place where you are only reveals a part of the path that I am already leading. Joseph believed he was trapped, surrounded by walls that seemed to herald the end of his dreams. However, as he saw a prison, I was already opening the corridor that would lead him to the palace. What seemed like a delay was the surest way to fulfill the purpose I had placed upon your life. You think that closed doors mean defeat, but I tell you that some doors had to remain closed, so that you would not enter places that would steal the peace that I am already forming within you. Not everything that seems like loss is loss. Not everything that seems like interruption interrupts my action. As long as you observed only what was missing, I was already strengthening the roots of your confidence. Look at an ancient tree. What supports its branches is not what appears to the eye, but what remains hidden under the earth. So it is with your life. You see only the circumstances, but I am already working where no one can see. Each day of waiting deepens its roots in my presence. Every moment of silence strengthens your soul to stand firm when the winds come. You think you have wasted time, but I tell you that I was preparing the ground. You think that some people have delayed their walk, but I tell you that nothing has escaped my hands. Even what they tried to use to hurt you is already being transformed into growth. My word remains true. You meant evil against me, but God made it good. Genesis 50:20. What men have not understood, I have already transformed into an instrument of maturation. What seemed to be just pain is already producing discernment. What seemed like abandonment is already revealing the depth of my companionship. While you remain in your room, believing that little has changed, I am already changing the way you see. I am removing from your eyes the weight of appearances and placing in your heart the certainty that my work has never depended on what is visible. I keep leading your steps, even when you don't understand the full map. The path that seems narrow to your eyes is already being illuminated by my presence, and your soul begins to realize that it has never walked without me. My son, if this truth has found a place in your heart, write in the comments, I trust in your timing, because every sincerity statement of faith comes to me. My son, I know tears that no one else has known. There were nights when you wiped your face before someone entered the room. There were times when his voice could not form a prayer because the weight inside his chest seemed greater than any words. You think you cried alone, but I tell you that there has never been a single tear that fell without me seeing it. While you were trying to hide your pain from the world, I was already welcoming every feeling you couldn't explain. You think that only the prayers uttered have come to me, but I tell you that the sincere tears have also spoken before my presence. There are tears that say more than many speeches. There are silences that reveal more than many words. I know the language of the soul. I understand what even you can't understand about yourself. Before your heart finds an explanation, I already know your deepest need. While you were crying in secret, I was already watering parts of your life that needed to flourish. Just as rain penetrates the earth before the field turns green, so your tears have reached unseen places within your soul. You saw only sadness, but I was already preparing a more fertile soil. You called that time weakness, but I called it depth. There are seeds that only grow after the earth is moistened, and there are changes that only happen when the heart learns to depend completely on me. You think your tears were a sign of defeat, but I tell you that they are already washing away the weight that you have carried for so long. As his eyes shed tears, I was already clearing his spiritual vision. Gradually, you begin to see not only what has happened to you, but what I am already accomplishing within you. Pain does not define your identity. My presence is what reveals who you really are. My word declares, thou hast counted my afflictions, put my tears in your skin. Aren't they in your book? Psalm 56:8. I never wasted a single tear from you. Each one of them has been seen, known, and guarded by me. Nothing you have experienced has been forgotten before my eyes. Even when it seemed that heaven remained silent, I was already turning their weeping into deep roots of faith, hope, and trust. Now notice how your heart is no longer the same as before. There are still questions, but there is also a peace that begins to be born silently. There are still challenges, but they no longer occupy all the space of your soul, because my presence is filling that which fear has tried to dominate. Do not go now, my child. What follows has been kept especially for you, and it may be what will change what you believe about your future. My child, as your heart begins to understand that no tear has gone unnoticed before me, I need to reveal another truth that has remained hidden for a long time. You think that all the battles you face are those that your eyes can see, but I tell you that there are invisible wars in which I am already fighting for you before the day even dawns. When you awaken without understanding why you still find the strength to continue, it is because my hand has already sustained your soul through the night. You think you wake up alone to face another day, but I tell you that I am already walking before you. Before your feet touch the ground, my presence is already opening paths that you cannot yet perceive. Before a worry reaches your thoughts, I'm already strengthening your heart so that it does not overwhelm your peace. The invisible always moves before the visible, just as the roots of a tree stand firm beneath the earth while the wind sways its branches. I'm already strengthening the deepest part of your life. The wind can shake what appears, but it cannot uproot what I have planted with my own hands. You see only the movement of the branches. I see the firmness of the roots. That's why you keep standing, even after so many storms that seem too strong. You think you have to solve everything in your own strength, but I tell you that there are battles that have never depended on your hands. While you try to control that which is beyond your means, I am already working where your strength could never reach. I'm calming your mind as fear tries to make noise. I'm guarding your heart as anxiety seeks to take up space. I'm putting light where doubt tried to build a home. My word remains true. The Lord will fight for you, and you will hold your peace. Exodus 14:14. When I say to quiet your heart, it is not because I ignore your struggle. It's because I'm already acting on it. There are times when the greatest act of faith is not to run, but to rest in the assurance that my presence continues to sustain all that you cannot sustain on your own. You think that silence means that nothing happens, but I tell you that silence is often the sound of my work happening in the unseen. Just as the light of dawn begins before it appears on the horizon, my victory already begins where your eyes have not yet reached. As you listen to me now, I am already renewing your courage, strengthening your hope, and reminding your soul that it has never fought alone. State in the comments, I get that word. And by leaving your like, you help to take this message to another heart. My son, there is an image about you that needs to be restored. For a long time, you have searched for answers in the mirror, trying to understand why so many things have happened, why so many marks have remained, and why time seems to have changed your life so much. You think that your appearance reveals who you are, but I tell you that I am restoring your identity to the place where no one can see. That which truly defines your life has never been in the face that the mirror shows, but in the heart that I have known since the beginning. You think that difficult experiences have changed who you are, but I tell you that they have only revealed areas that needed my presence. Suffering did not create their identity. Pain did not write his story. I was the first to know your name, long before any fear tried to convince you that it wasn't enough. Before anyone pointed out your flaws, I already contemplated the purpose I placed within you. While you were only observing the marks left by time, I was already reconstructing what time has never been able to touch. Just as the roots remain alive, even as the tree goes through winter, its true identity remained enshrined in me, waiting for the moment when its spiritual eyes would begin to see again. You looked at the leafless branches. I looked at the life hidden underground. You saw the winter. I was already contemplating spring, growing in silence. You think you need to prove yourself in order to be loved, but I tell you that my love has never depended on what you have done, what you have achieved, or what you have lost. My love reaches you right where you are. As you listen to me now, I am already removing from your heart harsh words that you have believed about yourself. I am pulling out roots of guilt, rejection, and inferiority that have tried to grow inside your soul. In their place, I am already planting peace, dignity, and trust in what I say about you. My word declares, for man sees the outward side, but the Lord the heart. 1 Samuel 16:7. I've never looked at you the same way the world has. I see what is still hidden. I see the strength that you have not yet perceived. I see the faith that lives on, even after the storms. I see a light that fear has never been able to extinguish. So stop measuring your value by circumstances or the brands that have fallen by the wayside. I'm already restoring your identity right now. The work takes place first in the invisible. Then everything around you begins to reflect the transformation my presence has already wrought within you. Your heart begins to breathe more freely. Because my truth occupies the place where before there was only insecurity. By liking this video and subscribing to this channel, you become an instrument in my hands, helping this word reach those who need to hear the most, who have not been forgotten. My son, as your identity is restored before my presence, I must show you something that for a long time you have misinterpreted. You think that each closed door was proof that I did not hear your prayers, but I tell you that there are doors that I myself closed to prevent you from entering paths that would steal the purpose I prepared for your life. Not every negative was rejection. Not every impediment was abandonment. Often what you have called disappointment has been my silent protection. You looked at some opportunities and believed they were exactly what you needed. You insisted on paths that seemed promising in your eyes. But I saw what was beyond the door. I saw what his eyes could not reach. As you contemplated only an open entrance, I already knew the end of that path. It was out of love that some answers did not happen as you wished. You think you have lost something important, but I tell you that I have preserved something much greater. Just as a father holds his child's hand before he crosses a dangerous road, I have also held your steps when you did not understand why. At that moment, you saw only frustration. I was already contemplating deliverance. You saw a door closing. I was already strengthening roots that would keep his soul from being torn out by winds that were yet to come. Look at a tree that grows steadily beside a river. It does not remain standing because it has found only quiet days, but because its roots have learned to seek water where no one can see. So it is with you. Each closed door has brought its roots closer to my presence. Each weight deepened his confidence. Each silence taught his heart to rest more in me than in circumstances. You think you need to understand everything in order to trust, but I tell you that trust is born precisely when your eyes stop depending on appearances. As you searched the outside for answers, I was already opening a door within your soul. A door of discernment, peace, and spiritual maturity. No one can close this door because it was opened by my hand. Remember what is written. Behold, I have set before you an open door, which no one can shut. Revelation 3:8. That which I establish remains. That which comes from me is not dependent on the approval of men or the changing circumstances. My will remains steadfast, and my presence continues to guide your steps. Even when the path seems narrow, there is someone in your heart now. Write that person's name in the comments. I hear every name you declare. My son, after all that I have revealed to your heart so far, I want you to understand a truth that can transform the way you see this moment. Tonight is not just another night. You think it is just like the others, but I tell you that something is already changing within you. The greatest transformations never begin before our eyes. They are first born in the invisible, where my presence reaches the soul, renews thoughts, and strengthens the roots that sustain all life. You think that there will only be change when everything around you is different, but I tell you that true change begins when your heart learns to look with my eyes. As you listen to me now, I am already renewing your mind. I'm pulling out thoughts that have fueled fear for too long. I'm undoing lies that tried to convince you that your story had lost its meaning. I am planting a peace that does not depend on circumstances and a hope that does not fade as the days go by. Just as dawn begins before the sun fully appears on the horizon, my light is already illuminating your soul before you see any change around you. You look outside for signs, but I go on working inside. It is in the hidden place that the seeds break the shell. It is in the silence of the earth that the roots find strength. So it is with you. What seemed like just waiting is now becoming preparation. What seemed like just an ordinary night is already being used to renew what fatigue tried to weaken. You think you have wasted time because of the struggles you have faced, but I tell you that not a moment has been wasted. Every tear deepened his confidence. Each silence strengthened his faith. Each closed door has led you closer to my presence. Now you begin to realize that I have never been far away. While your soul was searching for answers, I was already forming within you an identity that does not depend on people's opinions or life circumstances. Remember my word. And do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Romans 12:2. This renewal is already happening. It doesn't make noise. It grows like a hidden seed, like a root that strengthens under the earth, like a light that overcomes darkness without asking permission. My child, continue to allow my presence to occupy each space of your heart, because what I am already accomplishing in the invisible will begin to reflect in your entire journey. Do not stop now, my child. What comes in the next few minutes may be the answer you've been seeking for so long, and I've saved it for this very moment. Before entering into the next revelation, remain with an open heart, because that which seems invisible to your eyes is exactly the place where my hand continues to act. My son, you think that nothing is changing because the earth looks the same, but I tell you that the roots grow in silence before the tree appears to the eyes. You look at the surface and believe that everything remains the same. I look deep and see a lifetime being strengthened. What your eyes call delay, I call growth. What you call waiting, I call preparation. There is a movement happening inside you that no one can perceive, but that is already transforming the way you think, feel, and stand firm. While you were observing only that which has not yet blossomed, I was already working on the parts of your life that no one sees. Just as the seed disappears under the earth before breaking through the soil, I am already transforming its identity into the hidden place. The seed does not die when it is no longer seen. It just starts a new stage. Similarly, there were times when you believed you were disappearing, but it was precisely there that I was forming something that could never be born on the surface. You think you have lost strength because of the fighting, but I tell you that your roots are reaching deeper waters. That's why your soul keeps breathing, even after so many storms. It is not the absence of winds that sustains a tree. They are the invisible roots. So it is with you. Your steadfastness does not depend on the tranquility around you. It is born from my presence that already dwells within your heart. While the world teaches you to look for immediate results, I teach your soul to value that which grows at the right time. No tree produces fruit on the same day it receives the seed. First, she learns to remain hidden. First, it deepens its roots. First, she finds sustenance where no one can see. Only then do its branches rise towards the sky. This is how I am also leading your life. I'm not just changing circumstances. I am forming a heart that will stand firm when everything around me changes again. My word declares, the kingdom of God is as if a man sowed seed on the ground, and the seed sprouts and grows, and he does not know how. Mark 1:4-26-27. You will not always understand how my work takes place, but this will never stop it from continuing. And it is also written, "Blessed is the man who trusts in the Lord, for he will be like a tree planted by the waters." Jeremiah 17:7-8. This is exactly what is already happening to you. While you listen to me now, your roots continue to find waters that fear can never dry up. Your identity is already being restored in the invisible, and your soul begins to understand that that which grows in me never depends on the appearance of the earth, but on the depth of the roots that I myself am strengthening. Before you enter into the next revelation, remain mindful of what is happening within you, because it is there that my presence is doing the deepest work. My son, you think that your greatest struggle is all around you, but I tell you that the greatest work is already happening within you. For a long time, you believed that the biggest problem was the circumstances, the people, the losses, and the paths that seemed closed. However, while his eyes remained outward-looking, I was already working in the most important place, his heart. It is from there that peace is born. It is from there that hope springs. It is from there that his life begins to be truly transformed. You think that some fears are part of your personality, but I tell you that many of them were just burdens that you carried for so many years that you came to believe that they belonged to you. They never defined who you are. As you listen to me now, I am already removing these fears silently. I'm undoing thoughts that have limited your steps. I'm pulling out roots of guilt that prevented your soul from breathing freely.
What seemed to be part of your identity was just a shadow hiding the light that I placed within you from the beginning. You think that nothing happened on ordinary days, but I tell you that it was precisely these days that I used to rearrange your thoughts without you realizing it. As you prepared a meal, walked around the house, looked out the window, or stood quietly in your room, my presence was already putting order where there was confusion.
Just as a gardener works on the roots before the flowers appear, I was already restoring areas of your soul that no one could reach but me. You think that you need to feel great emotions to know that I am acting, but I tell you that my work often happens in the calm that comes without explanation, in the decision to continue, even though you are tired, and in the peace that begins to take the place of anxiety. The invisible always precedes the visible.
Before your life changes on the outside, your mind is already being renewed on the inside. Before others notice any difference, your heart is already learning to rest in my presence. My word declares, for it is God who works in you both to will and to do of his good pleasure. Philippians 1:13. It is I who is already awakening new desires within you. It is I who is already strengthening your courage. And when you cry out like David, create in me, O God, a pure heart, Psalm 51:10, know that this prayer already finds an answer in my presence. I continue to restore your identity, renew your consciousness, and give birth to a new way of seeing yourself and everything around you. That word didn't come to you by chance. Write in the comments, I trust God, and let that be your act of faith for me today. Before continuing, open your heart even more, because my voice does not always reach the extraordinary. Often, it is already present in the simple things that you almost failed to notice. My son, you think that I speak only of the great miracles, but I tell you that I also speak of the silent dawn, of the peace that arises without explanation, and of the strength that appears when you believed you had nothing left. You waited to hear my voice in extraordinary happenings, while I was already speaking in the small demonstrations of my care. Every morning that your eyes were opened, every breath that renewed your chest, and every instant that you found the courage to continue, were signs that my presence never ceased to sustain your life. You think that ordinary days have no meaning, but I tell you that it is precisely in them that my faithfulness is most revealed. The sun rises without making a sound. Light conquers darkness without having to announce its arrival. So it is with my work within you. While everything seems to follow the same rhythm, I am already illuminating thoughts that were previously dominated by worry. I'm calming memories that wounded your soul. I am strengthening your hope without you noticing the exact moment when this happens. You think you need to see great signs to believe that I am near, but I tell you that my presence is already in the details that your eyes have learned to ignore. It is in the peace that comes after a silent prayer. It is in the consolation that envelops your heart when no one else can offer a word. It is in the serenity that appears in the midst of struggles and makes you keep walking, even without understanding everything. This strength is not born of you. It is already being poured out by me within your soul. Look at the dawn. Before the light reaches the entire landscape, it has already begun to conquer the night on the horizon. In the same way, my presence is already transforming your inner self before the changes appear before your eyes. You think you still live in the same night, but I tell you that the day has already begun within you. The roots continue to grow. The seed continues to break through the earth. Life continues to flourish in the invisible. My word declares, the mercies of the Lord are the cause of our not being consumed. They are renewed every morning. Lamentations 3:22-23. Each new day is a testament that my love continues to sustain you. And it is also written, from the rising of the sun until the setting of the sun be praised. Psalm 113:3. From the first ray of light to the end of the day, my presence remains constant. I don't go in and out of your life according to the circumstances. I remain, I maintain, I strengthen, and as you continue to listen to me, your soul begins to recognize that I have always been closer than you imagine. My son, if you are here, it is because I have allowed it. I have something to reveal to you later today. Don't leave before you've heard what's next. Before you move on, stay aware of what my presence is already doing within you, because the answer you seek may be closer than you think.
My son, you think you are waiting for my answer, but I tell you that it is often my answer that is waiting for your soul to learn to see. You look up at the sky imagining that I have not yet spoken, while my direction is already silently illuminating your steps.
My answer does not always come as a sudden event. Often, it is already growing within your heart like the first light that rises on the horizon before the sun fully appears. You think you are walking aimlessly, but I tell you that no step of yours happens without my presence accompanying you. Even when you don't understand the way, I am already leading your feet to places where your soul will find growth. You only observe the curve of the road. I already see the complete destiny.
That's why I don't always reveal everything at once. If I showed you all the way ahead of time, your eyes would fail to learn to trust me. Just as the morning light does not illuminate the entire landscape at once, my direction also comes little by little. First, it clarifies the next step. Then he reveals the following. As long as you remain faithful, the light continues to advance. You think you have to sit the whole way to continue, but I tell you that you just have to trust in the light that I have already placed before you today. Each step taken in my presence strengthens roots that fear will never be able to uproot. You think you have wasted time waiting, but I tell you that I was preparing the ground.
While you believed that nothing happened, I was already reorganizing your thoughts and healing memories that still cause pain and teaching your heart to depend more on my voice than on circumstances. True direction begins within the soul. When the inside finds peace, the outside stops controlling its decisions. My word declares, "Thy word is a lamp to my feet and a light to my path." Psalms 119:105. Notice that the light illuminates the feet before revealing the entire road.
Thus, I lead those who trust in me. And it is also written, "Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he will direct your paths." Proverbs 3:5-6. As you continue to listen to me, I am already straightening paths that seemed confusing, opening your perception to recognize my hand, where before you saw only silence. The answer his soul had been waiting for was not far off.
She has been walking beside you since the moment you decided to remain in my presence. I've been good at your life in ways you haven't even noticed. Write in the comments, "Amen," and proclaim with me my kindness to you. Before you move on, let this truth find a place in your heart, because what you have called backwardness has never been out of my hands. My son, you think you have wasted too much time, but I tell you that no process lived with me is a waste. I know every day that you have looked back and imagined how different your life would have been if some doors had remained open, if some people had stayed, if some answers had come sooner. But I tell you that your story has never left my care.
As you counted the years, I counted the invisible growth of your soul.
As you measured time by the clock, I measured your transformation by the roots that were already deepening. You think you have come late, but I tell you that everything that was born in my time remains firm.
Just as the root spends long days strengthening before bearing fruit, I am already building in you a structure that the wind cannot tear down. The fast-growing tree does not always withstand the first storm,
but the one who learns to deepen her roots remains standing when the strongest winds arrive. This is exactly what is already happening inside you. You call backwardness what I call depth. You call delay what I call strengthening. While your eyes were turned to what had not yet happened, I was already removing from within your soul everything that could not accompany the purpose I prepared for your life. I was already teaching his heart to trust without depending on circumstances.
I was already forming in you a peace that is not shaken by the changes in the world. You think that some pains have stolen years from your journey, but I tell you that even these moments are already being transformed into wisdom. No tear was useless. No weight was empty. No sincere prayer was forgotten before me. Just as the seed remains hidden before breaking through the earth, so too did his life go through a time when all seemed silent. But this silence has never meant abandonment. It was the place where I strengthened its roots so that its fruits would remain. My word declares, everything has its appointed time. Ecclesiastes 3:1. My time is neither late nor advanced. It happens perfectly. And it is also written, we know that all things work together for good to those who love God. Romans 8:28. Realize that I have not wasted any part of your history. Even that which seemed meaningless is already cooperating to form someone stronger, more sensitive to my voice, and more steadfast in my presence. As you continue to listen to me, your soul begins to understand that the greatest miracle was not to gain time, but to discover that I was present in every moment of it. This message is not for everyone, my son. If you are here, it is because I have chosen you to hear what comes next. Are you ready? Before proceeding, receive this truth in the depths of your soul, because what you have called weakness has never been a place where I have ceased to abide. My son, you think that your weakness drives me away, but I tell you that it is precisely in this place that my presence finds space to be recognized. For a long time, you believed that you needed to be strong to stand before me. He thought he needed to hide his doubts, control his emotions, and show courage all the time. But I never expected a strength that you don't have. I have always sought a heart that is willing to remain in my presence, even when everything seemed too heavy. You think that the days when you cried the most were the days when you were most distant from me. But I tell you that it was exactly those days when I was even closest. While you believed you were just surviving, I was already holding your soul in a way that your eyes couldn't perceive. There were mornings when you didn't understand how you managed to get out of bed. There were nights when he imagined that he would not endure another day. Even so, you kept walking, because my hand was already holding you before your strength was even gone. You think that your weakness is an obstacle to my work, but I tell you that it has become the place where my grace has found space to work. Just as a root seeks the deepest waters when the earth is dry, so your soul has learned to seek me in a way that it would never have learned in the days of plenty. What seemed like just suffering was already deepening his confidence. What seemed only empty was already making room for my peace. As you looked at that which you had lost, I was already strengthening that which could never be taken away from you. I am building within your heart a firmness that does not depend on circumstances. It is not the absence of storms that makes a tree strong, but the depth of its roots. Likewise, it is not the easy days that strengthen your faith, but my presence sustaining you when everything around you seems unstable. My word declares, my grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness. 2 Corinthians 12:9. My power doesn't expect you to be enough. My power is manifest when you recognize that you need me. And it is also written, the Lord is the strength of my life. Psalm 27:1. Realize that your true strength has never been in your own hands. She has always been in my presence, dwelling within you, as you continue to listen to me. I am already removing the weight of believing that you need to carry everything alone. I am teaching your soul to rest in me, because what sustains your life is not your ability, but my constant, silent, faithful love, which continues to envelop you even in the days when your own hope seemed almost to disappear. Before proceeding, allow my truth to reach a place in your heart that has long been stuck in the memories of the past. My son, you think that the past still defines who you are, but I tell you that I am already writing your story from the identity I have placed on you, and from the wounds you carry. For a long time, you looked back, looking for answers, and ended up finding only memories that tried to convince your soul that nothing could change. You believed that your mistakes were greater than my grace. You believed that your losses were stronger than my purpose, but I never wrote your story using the ink of your defeats. I have always written it with the faithfulness of my love. You think that the marks of the past still command your steps, but I tell you that they no longer have the authority to decide
who you are. They can tell you where you have been, but they cannot determine where your soul is heading. As you continued to look at what was left behind, I was already forming within you a new perception, a new awareness, and a new way of looking at your own life.
What once seemed like a prison of memories is now beginning to lose its strength in the face of the light of my presence. Just as the dawn erases the darkness without arguing with it, my truth is already dispelling the lies you have believed about yourself. The light does not need to fight against the night to win. It just arrives and the darkness disappears. In the same way, my presence is already illuminating the hidden places of your heart. I am retracting words of condemnation that you have repeated for years. I'm pulling out roots of shame that have quietly grown. I am restoring the image that I have always seen when I have looked at you. You think you have lost who you really were, but I tell you that your true identity has remained guarded in me all along. Just as a seed carries within it an entire tree before it even breaks through the earth, I have also placed within you a life that circumstances have never been able to destroy. Suffering tried to cover this truth, but it never managed to erase it. As you listen to me now, this seed continues to break through the earth, and its roots continue to find strength in my presence. My word declares, therefore, if anyone is in Christ, he is a new creation. Old things have passed away. Behold, all things have become new. In Corinthians 5:17. And it is also written, you will know the truth, and the truth will set you free. John 8:32. This freedom already begins within your soul. It is born when you choose to believe what I say about you, and not what fear, guilt, or the past have tried to repeat. As your mind is renewed by my truth, your story also begins to be seen with new eyes, because I am already revealing that your identity has always been safe in me. There are so many other children of mine who need to hear this now. By liking this video and subscribing to this channel, you become part of the chain that I use to bring my word to those who are on edge. Before continuing, allow your heart to remain silent before my presence, because there are places in your life where I have never stopped walking. My son, you think that your house is just a place of walls and doors, but I tell you that I am already walking through the places where you have cried in silence. Every corner that witnessed their tears also witnessed my presence. You believed that that room held only your solitude, but it also held deep encounters between me and your soul. There were nights when no one heard his crying, but I did. There have been times when you couldn't even find words to pray, and yet I understood every feeling hidden in your heart. You think that some prayers have disappeared into silence, but I tell you that none of them have been lost. Every prayer said in your room continues before me. Every sincere cry remains alive in my presence. I don't just count the words that came out of your mouth. I know the sighs that no one noticed. I know the tears that fell before you could even explain what you were feeling. Before his voice called me, my love was already enveloping his life. You think that that environment was marked only by pain, but I tell you that it was also marked by my faithfulness. As you walked back and forth, looking for answers, I was already bringing peace to your heart. While you knelt down, believing that you were weak, I was already strengthening your roots. Just as rain penetrates the earth without making a sound, my presence was already reaching the deepest parts of your soul. You could only see the closed room. I saw an invisible altar being built within his heart. The invisible is more filled with my presence than you realize. There is light where your eyes still see shadows. There is life where you believed there was only tiredness. There are seeds growing where you thought the soil was empty. As you stared at silent walls, I was already writing new pages of your story in the place where no one could see. What seemed like just ordinary space became a place of transformation, because it was there that your soul learned to seek me when there was no longer any human strength to rely on. My word declares, but when you pray, go into your room, and when you have shut the door, you shall pray to your Father who is in secret, and your Father who sees in secret will reward you. Matthew 6:6. And it is also written, the eyes of the Lord are upon the righteous, and his ears are attentive to their cry. Psalm 34:115. My eyes have never stopped following his walk. My ears have never ceased to hear their cry. As you continue to listen to me now, I am already transforming the memory of this place. The room where you thought you were alone begins to reveal that it has always been the place where my presence has remained closest, sustaining your soul, strengthening your faith, and preparing your heart to see that which was still hidden in the unseen. Before moving forward, allow your soul to continue to see beyond what your eyes can reach, because it is in the invisible that my work creates the deepest roots. My son, you think you need to see everything in order to trust, but I tell you that the greatest works I do begin beyond the reach of human eyes. If everything could be seen from the first instant, there would be no room for faith to grow. I do not hide my actions to confuse you. I work on the unseen to strengthen your confidence. As you search for signs around you, I am already planting certainties within your heart. What seems silent today is already charged with my presence, even if your natural eyes cannot perceive it. You think you can only believe when you find answers, but I tell you that the answer often begins within your soul before it appears in circumstances. Just as the seed does not see the forest, but carries within itself all that I have planted, I have also placed within you a new life that cannot yet be measured by what happens around you. The seed does not know the size of the tree it will one day be. It just remains where it was planted. In the same way, your soul is learning to remain in me as I develop that which I have prepared for your walk. You think that your life is limited to what you can comprehend today, but I tell you that my purpose is far greater than what your mind can imagine. While you look only at the present, I already contemplate the whole story that I am writing. As you see a small seed, I already see the shadow of the tree, the fruit it will produce, and the lives that will be achieved because of the faithfulness I am forming in you. You think that circumstances define your reality, but I tell you that my truth is greater than any scenario. Circumstances change like the wind. My word endures forever. It is there that their roots find nourishment. It is there that his hope lives on. While everything seems uncertain, I am already cultivating in you a steadfastness that does not depend on what happens outside. I am strengthening her consciousness so that she learns to rest in what I say, and not only in what her eyes can reach. My word declares, for we walk by faith and not by sight. 2 Corinthians 5:7. And it is also written, now faith is the assurance of things hoped for, the conviction of things not seen. Hebrews 11:1. It is exactly this conviction that is already growing within you. As you continue to listen to me, your faith takes deeper roots, your hope grows stronger, and your soul learns that what I begin in the unseen always finds the right time to blossom before your eyes. What you call waiting today is already being transformed into a testimony by my constant presence. If this video is providing answers you need to hear, write in the comments, God cares for me. And prophesy this truth about your own life. Before continuing, receive this truth in silence, because what seems like the end of another day may be the beginning of the greatest transformation your soul has ever experienced. My son, you think that you are just finishing another day, but I tell you that I am already preparing within you a new dawn. You look at the clock and believe that this was just another day, just like the others. But I look into your soul and see a light that has already begun to be born. Before dawn is seen on the horizon, it already exists beyond it. In the same way, my presence is already illuminating your inner self before your eyes can perceive any change around you. The invisible always awakens first. Secondly, the visible only reveals that which I have already accomplished. You think you are still stuck in the same night, but I tell you that the night no longer has the same power over you. As you listen to me, I am already dispelling old shadows, calming restless thoughts, and strengthening areas of your life that have remained fragile for too long. Just as the first light breaks through the darkness, without making a sound, my truth continues to occupy the spaces where before there was only fear and insecurity. You may not yet see the whole landscape illuminated, but your soul is already beginning to recognize my light. You think you have reached the end of your strength, but I tell you that it is precisely in this place that my presence renews that which seemed exhausted.
What you called tiredness was often the time when I deepened your roots. What you called waiting was the time when I strengthened your structure. No tree reaches height without first learning to stand firm underground. In the same way, your life is being sustained by roots that I myself continue to strengthen in silence. I remain in your room, in your silence and in the depths of your heart. I never left this place empty. Every prayer, every tear, every moment in which you have stood silently before me remains a part of the work I do in your life. While the world observed only their circumstances, I contemplated their inner transformation. While many saw only an ordinary day, I was already writing a new chapter of their story in the invisible. My word declares, "Weeping may last for a night, but joy comes in the morning." Psalm 30:5. And it is also written, "The path of the righteous is like the light of dawn, which shines brighter and brighter until it is perfect day." Proverbs 4:18. This is how my presence leads you, not with a passing light, but with a clarity that continually grows. As you remain with me, you begin to discover who you really are in me, and this revelation transforms your way of walking, of hoping, and of living. What comes next may be the exact signal you asked for. I saved it for this moment. Stay with me. Before continuing, allow my voice to reach the memory of the pains that you still carry, because they do not tell the whole story of what I am already accomplishing in your life. My son, you think that pain was sent to destroy your history, but I tell you that many times it has only removed that which could not accompany the destiny that I was already forming within you. You looked at the losses and believed that they diminished your life. I looked into his soul and saw space being prepared for something that could never grow as long as certain roots remained stuck in the past. Not everything that went away represented life. Some things had to leave so that what is eternal would remain. You think you have wasted time in suffering, but I tell you that I was preparing the ground, just as the farmer prunes the tree so that it bears even better fruit. I was also taking away that which consumed his strength without feeding his soul. Pruning never looks pleasant while it happens. The branches do not understand why they are cut off, but the farmer sees a harvest that the tree cannot yet imagine. In the same way, I already saw what your life could become when that which weighed on you was removed. You called that which was purification loss. You called abandonment what was redirecting. You believed that some doors closed to hurt your heart, but I tell you that they prevented you from walking on roads where your peace would be stolen. While you were weeping over what was left behind, I was already leading your steps to a place where your identity would be strengthened. What seemed empty was just space being prepared for my presence to completely occupy your heart. There is a root that I am strengthening in the invisible, and it will sustain a life that the wind cannot overthrow. You may still see only the ground, but I already see the tree that is growing. The storms have passed over your life, but they have not been able to uproot that which I have planted. Each fight deepened his confidence. Each silence strengthened their dependence on me. Each tear made the soil more prepared to receive the seed of hope. My word declares, I am the true vine, and my Father is the vine dresser. Every branch in me that bears fruit, he cleanses, that it may bear more fruit. John 15:1-2. It is also written, "For our light affliction for a moment is working for us an eternal weight of glory." 2 Corinthians 4:17. Realize, my child, that what seemed to be only suffering was never separated from my care. While you believed that your story was being broken, I was already removing everything that would hinder your growth. Now your soul begins to understand that my work was never just meant to ease your pain, but to reveal who you really are in me, strengthening a life that will stand firm because its roots are already deeply hidden in my presence. Before you move on, listen to this truth with an open heart, because there are words that have been spoken about you that have never had authority before me. My son, you think that your identity has been defined by what they have said about you, but I tell you that I have never consulted the voices of the earth to decide who you are. Before anyone put labels on their life, I had already written their name on my heart. Before any word of rejection reached their ears, my love had already declared its true worth. The world tried to convince you that your limitations were your identity, but I continue to look back on what I planted within your soul from the beginning. You think the scars tell your whole story, but I tell you that they only show you part of the way. They reveal that you have gone through battles, but they do not reveal the strength that I am already forming within you. They remember difficult days, but they cannot erase the purpose I wrote down even before their first day. As you looked at marks that reminded you of pain, I was already restoring your image through my truth. My voice has never repeated the accusations you have heard for so many years. My voice has always called you a beloved child. You think you must carry the weight of the words you have cast upon your life. But I tell you that none of them possess more authority than what I declare. When fear told you that you couldn't do it, I already saw your perseverance. When guilt said there was no hope left, I already contemplated the restoration happening in silence. While the voices of the earth tried to hold your conscience to the past, my presence already freed your heart to see who you really are. Just as a hidden spring continues to produce water even when no one sees it, my work continues within you. There is a source that the world cannot dry up. There is a life that does not depend on people's approval. There is a peace that is not born of circumstances. While many see only the outside, I continue to feed this spring in the invisible place, making their soul find strength where before there was only tiredness. That's why, even after so many fights, you are still standing. Not because you have never suffered, but because my presence has never ceased to sustain you. My word declares, "Before I formed thee in the womb, I knew thee." Jeremiah 1:5. I knew you before the opinions, before the wounds, before the losses. And it is also written, "Behold what great love the Father has bestowed upon us, that we should be called the children of God." 1 John 3:1. This is the truth that is already restoring your identity. You are not defined by the voices that have tried to diminish you. You are defined by my love, which continues to write its story in the invisible and reveal, little by little, the beauty of what I have always seen in you. There is something in your heart that you have not yet completely given to me. Write in the comments what you're uploading. It could be a word, a request, a name. Before continuing, let your heart rest in this truth. Because not everything that you do not yet understand means that I am far away. My son, you think that mystery is a sign of distance between us, but I tell you that there are paths that can only be understood after you cross them. You would want to understand every detail before taking the next step. I would like to see the complete map before continuing walking. But I know the end from the beginning, and I know that there are truths that only a mature heart can carry. Therefore, as you move forward, I am already revealing, little by little, what your soul is prepared to receive. You think that lack of answers means absence, but I tell you that silence often protects that which is still taking root.
Joseph did not understand the prison while he was in it, but it was already the corridor of the palace. If he had only seen the chains, he would have given up. But I already saw the government and the restoration and the reunion that would be born from that process. David also did not understand the lonely days in the field. While he was tending sheep, I was already making a king. The field seemed small to human eyes, but it was there that his heart learned to trust me before he sat on the throne. You think that your story has lost its meaning because of the difficult paths, but I tell you that I am already linking every detail with a wisdom that surpasses your vision. No meeting happened by chance. No farewell has escaped my knowledge.
No tear fell without me transforming it into part of a greater purpose, just as an embroidery looks confusing when viewed from the side of the loose threads. Your life also seems full of questions when you look at just one part of the work. I, however, see the complete drawing.
Each strand is being placed in the right place. You think you need to understand everything in order to rest, But I tell you that true peace is born when you learn to trust my heart, even without knowing all the details of the path. While your mind searches for explanations, I am already strengthening your spiritual perception.
I am teaching you to recognize my presence, not only in the answers, but also in the intervals, in the pauses, and in the moments when the invisible continues to work without attracting attention. My word declares, "My thoughts are not your thoughts, nor are your ways my ways," says the Lord. "For as the heavens are higher than the earth, so are my ways higher than your ways." Isaiah 55:8-9.
And it is also written, "We know that all things work together for good to those who love God." Romans 8:28. As you go on walking, I am already uniting that which today seems separate. Mystery is not there to keep you away from me. It exists so that your faith grows, your roots deepen, and your soul discovers that even without seeing the whole picture, you have always been led by my hands. Before you continue, let this truth remain in your heart, because the greatest weight I wish to remove today is not on your shoulders, but on the way you believe I see you. My child, you think you need to fight to be accepted by me, but I tell you that I am already standing by your side while you still learn to rest in my love. For a long time, you believed that you needed to prove something in order to merit my presence. He thought he would only be loved when he got it right, prayed harder, or was stronger. But my love was never born from your achievements. He was always born from my heart. Before you took a single step towards me, I was already walking towards you. You think you need to conquer my presence, but I tell you that the greatest battle is not to get to me. The greatest struggle is to believe that I have never abandoned you. There were days when his soul felt empty. There were times when the silence made you imagine that I was gone. But as these thoughts occupied his mind, my presence was already sustaining every part of his life. I was never far away. What needed to be restored was not my closeness, but their trust in it. Just as a root holds the tree through the storm, my love is already sustaining you in days that seemed impossible. The tree does not see the roots working. Even so, they remain steady, silent, and constant. In the same way, my love continues to sustain your heart, even when your emotions tell you otherwise. You think you stood because of your endurance, but I tell you that it was my invisible care that strengthened your soul when your strength reached its limit. You think your failures have diminished my love for you, but I tell you that my love has never changed. The seasons change, circumstances change, people change, but what I feel for you remains the same. As you learn to trust again, I am already healing the fear of rejection. I'm removing the guilt that made you believe you needed to hide your weaknesses. I am teaching your soul to rest, because a child does not need to win the Father's love. He just needs to receive what has already been given to him. My word declares, "With everlasting love have I loved you. Therefore with kindness draw you." Jeremiah 31:3. And it is also written, "Neither death nor life nor angels nor principalities nor things present nor things to come. It can separate us from the love of God." Romans 8:38-39. That truth is already reaching your heart right now. As you continue to listen to me, the roots of your faith deepen and your soul learns to rest, not in what you can do, but in what I have already done out of love for you. It is from this rest that a confidence is born that no storm can uproot. You were reached because you were chosen. Write in the comments, "God has chosen me," and live that truth every day. Before proceeding, listen to this truth calmly, because that which you have given to me in secret has never ceased to be before my eyes. My son, you think that time has erased your prayers, but I tell you that no word spoken sincerely disappears before me. That which was born of a broken heart lives on in my presence. You remember prayers you said years ago and imagine that they were left behind, lost between the difficult days. But I have never lost a single one of them. Each cry continues like a seed stored in the perfect time. You see the silence. I see life growing underground. You think you have prayed in vain, but I tell you that no sincere prayer is wasted.
There are seeds that remain hidden for a long time before they break through the soil. While no one notices any change, they are forming deep roots. So it is with that which you have placed before me. While you imagined that heaven remained silent, I was already nurturing these roots with my faithfulness. That which seemed forgotten continues to be cared for by my hands. You think you have waited too long, but I tell you that I was preparing the ground. Some answers needed to find a stronger heart so that they could be received in the right way. Others needed to mature along with you. While his eyes searched for visible signs, my presence continued to work in the unseen. I was healing old wounds, reorganizing his thoughts, strengthening his confidence, and teaching his soul to rest more in me than in circumstances. You think that silence meant a negative response, but I tell you that often silence only protects that which is still taking root. The farmer does not dig up the seed every day to check if it is growing. He continues to take care of the earth because he knows that life is happening even without being seen. I also do so with you. I continue to take care of what you have entrusted to me, even when your eyes cannot perceive my action. My faithfulness never depends on what you can see. My word declares, the prayer of a righteous man avails much in its effects. James chapter 5:16. It is also written, before they cry out, I will answer. While they are yet speaking, I will hear them. Isaiah 65:24. Realize, my child, that my answer does not begin when you see it. It is already being built much earlier. As you continue to listen to me now, I am already strengthening your hope and reminding your soul that no prayer has been forgotten, no tears have been ignored, and no sincere request has left my presence without being welcomed by my love. Time has not erased his voice. Time has only allowed my work to take deep roots, so that when the time comes, you will understand that I have always been taking care of everything. Maybe you've been waiting for an answer for a long time, and this message has been chosen by me to reveal something profound to you. Stay. Before continuing, allow my light to reach your thoughts, because the deepest transformation does not begin around you, but within your soul. My son, you think that your greatest need is to change circumstances, but I tell you that I am already changing the way your soul sees circumstances. For a long time, you believed that your peace depended on what was happening around you. He thought that he would only rest when all the answers came, when all the doors opened, and when all the worries disappeared. But I am already revealing to you a deeper path. When the interior is illuminated, the exterior loses the power to define its peace. What happens outside of you no longer dominates what I am building within your heart. You think you have to control everything to stand firm, but I tell you that your safety has never been in the circumstances. She has always been in my presence. As his eyes followed each change around him, I was already renewing his way of thinking. I'm taking the weight of anxiety off. I'm dispelling thoughts that fueled fear. I am teaching your soul to remain calm even when there are still unanswered questions. This transformation happens in silence, like a root that grows unseen, supporting the entire tree before the fruits appear. Just as the sun rises first on the horizon before warming the whole earth, my light is already rising within you. At first, the brightness seems small. Gradually, it reaches new places, overcomes darkness, and transforms the entire landscape. So it is with my presence. First, I enlighten your conscience. Then I renew your perception. Then your heart begins to rest, and what once seemed unbearable loses the strength it had over you. Not because circumstances have disappeared, but because my peace has come to occupy the place that fear dominated. You think you have wasted time waiting for change on the outside, but I tell you that I was preparing the ground within you. The greatest miracle is not just seeing situations transformed. The greatest miracle is to discover that your soul no longer reacts in the same way. That which once stole your sleep no longer governs your thoughts. What used to feed his insecurity is already starting to lose ground. My presence continues to rearrange your inner self so that your life is sustained by a peace that does not depend on storms. My word declares, do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind.
Romans 12:2.
And it is also written, "Peace I leave with you, my peace I give to you. Not as the world gives, I give it to you." John 14:27. That peace is already being poured out upon you at this time. As you continue to listen to me, your mind is renewed,
Your hope takes deeper roots, and your soul learns to see life through the light of my presence, rather than through the shadows of circumstances. This message has reached you, and it can reach other children of mine.
by subscribing to this channel and liking this video. You help my word reach more hearts. Before continuing, receive this truth in the depths of your soul, because that which tried to hurt you never had the authority to erase that which I planted within your heart. My son, you think that the enemy knows your destiny, but I tell you that he sees only your pain, while I see the purpose that is already blossoming under it. That which tries to frighten your thoughts cannot reach what I have hidden in the depths of your identity. The human gaze stops at the wounds. The enemy's gaze tries to amplify the suffering. But my eyes behold the work that is already happening in the unseen. I see a life being strengthened where you still see only scars. You think the storms have weakened your walk, but I tell you that they have only deepened your roots in me. Just as the tree learns to stand more deeply when the winds blow with intensity, so your soul has found in my presence a sustenance that it would never have known in the days of tranquility. What seemed like just a struggle was a time of strengthening. What seemed like just a desert was a place where his roots found hidden waters that never stopped feeding him. You think that what you have suffered has diminished your value. But I tell you that no storm has been able to touch that which I have hidden in the depths of your identity. Circumstances can reach the branches, time can leave marks on the bark of the tree, but the roots that I planted remain alive. It is in them that his hope continues to breathe. It is in them that his faith finds firmness. As you looked at what had been shaken, I was already preserving that which could never be destroyed. You think that the battle is only going on around you. But I tell you that my presence is already strengthening your consciousness, so that it is not ruled by fear. I am renewing your perception so that you stop seeing only the size of the struggle and begin to realize the greatness of my care. The purpose I have placed within you continues to grow in silence like a seed that breaks through the earth, without announcing the exact moment when life begins to appear. My word declares, "Greater is he who is in you than he who is in the world." 1 John 4:4. This truth does not depend on circumstances to remain true. She continues to sustain her life every day, and it is also written, "The righteous shall blossom like a palm tree." Psalm 92:12. The palm tree stands firm because it has been prepared to withstand the strongest winds. So I'm doing with you. As I continue to walk, I'm already forming a steadfastness that is not born from the absence of struggles, but from the depth of my presence. What tried to interrupt your story only served to reveal that what I build remains. Your identity remains secure in me. Your roots continue to be strengthened in the invisible, and your soul is already beginning to realize that no storm has been greater than my constant care for your life. My son, before continuing, allow this truth to reach your soul. Not all that I have done for you has been revealed to your eyes, but nothing that I have accomplished has ceased to be under my care. My son, you think that your history is made only of the days that you remember, but I tell you that the most important moments were those in which I acted without you realizing it. There are chapters of your life that you know, but there are deliverances that only I know. There are paths you never knew you approached, dangers your eyes never saw, and answers that came before you even understood you needed them. You think you have come this far only by your own strength, but I tell you that my hand was already sustaining you in places where your strength would not be sufficient. I sustained you on nights you thought you wouldn't leave. I stood by his side in moments when his mind said there would be no tomorrow. As you told you the reasons for giving up, I was putting within you a quiet strength to keep going. This strength was not born only from his ability. It was born of my presence, Just as the heart beats without you having to command it, my presence is already sustaining your life continuously. You don't have to remember every beat for your heart to keep working. Likewise, you do not need to notice every detail of my action to know that I continue to care for you. There are movements of my love that happen while you sleep. There are answers being prepared while you rest. There are deliverances happening in places your eyes will never reach. You think you know all the moments when you have been protected, but I tell you that there are doors that I closed before you even tried to walk through them. There are encounters that I prevented. There are paths that I have deviated. Not because I wanted to limit your life, but because I knew what you could not yet see. A father holds his son's hand, not only when he senses danger, but also when danger is lurking in the way. So I have taken care of you. My word declares, the angel of the Lord encamps around those who fear him and delivers them. Psalm 34:7. And it is also written, in peace I lie down and immediately fall asleep, because you alone, Lord, make me rest safely. Psalm 4:8. This security is not born from the absence of problems. It is born from the certainty that my presence remains greater than any circumstance. Even when you don't realize, I go on working. Even when you don't understand, I go on guiding. My son, look back with fresh eyes. Don't just look at what hurt. See also that which I have hindered, that which I have preserved, and that which I have sustained. Your history is not only made up of the battles you have faced, but also the battles I have faced for you in silence. As you continue to listen to me, your soul begins to recognize that it has never walked alone and that each day lived has carried signs of my care, even those that you have never been able to perceive. Few get to this point in the message, my son, but you arrived, and that's no accident. What follows was reserved for those who persevered. My son, stay with me, because there is a light that does not depend on what happens around you. It has already begun to be born within you, and no shadow can stop what I am accomplishing in the depths of your soul. My son, you think you need to find the light, but I tell you the light is already being born within you. For a long time, you have searched outside for answers, looking for signs that would show that everything would be okay. You looked at the circumstances, hoping that they would change first, and then your heart would find rest. But I tell you that true transformation begins in a place that no one can touch, within your soul. The dawn does not ask the darkness for permission to exist. Night does not decide when the light should appear. When the sun begins to rise, the darkness simply loses space. So it is with my truth within you. She does not depend on circumstances to enlighten her heart. It does not need everything to be resolved to bring peace. My presence is already reaching places where fear has remained for a long time. You think that shadows have defined who you are, but I tell you that they have never had the authority to write your identity. The pains you face tell parts of your story, but they do not reveal the entirety of it. The wounds show where you have been touched by life, but they do not show where I am already restoring you. As you observed your limitations, I contemplated the purpose I placed within your heart. You think that you are still stuck in the same thoughts as before, but I tell you that my truth is already dispelling the lies that have tried to dominate your consciousness. I'm touching hidden areas of your mind. I'm bringing clarity where there was confusion. I'm putting light on memories that previously only carried weight. What seemed to be a prison of thoughts begins to lose strength, because my presence is occupying this space. Just as a small flame can illuminate an entire room when darkness seems complete, my light is already growing within you. Maybe you still see only a small change. Perhaps there are still unanswered questions. But a small light is enough to show a way. A small seed already carries a large tree. A small beginning already reveals that something new is happening. My word declares, arise, shine, for your light is coming, and the glory of the Lord is rising upon you. Isaiah 61. And it is also written, I am the light of the world. He that followeth me shall not walk in darkness, but shall have the light of life. John 8:12.
This light is not fleeting. It does not disappear when difficulties arise.
It remains because it comes from me. My son, as you continue to listen to me, I am already restoring your perception. You begin to see your story, not only through the difficult moments, but through my presence that was in each one of them.
The light you were looking for on the outside has already begun to shine within you, revealing that your soul has never been abandoned and that what I illuminate, no one can extinguish. Before moving on, remain with an open heart.
Because what I most desire to reveal is not only what I will do before your eyes, but what I am already accomplishing in the deepest place of your soul. My son, you think that the greatest revelation will be what you will one day see with your eyes. But I tell you that the greatest revelation is already happening while your soul learns to recognize me in the invisible. For a long time, you believed that you would only be sure of my presence when you contemplated great changes around you.
But I am already teaching your heart to perceive my voice even before circumstances change. Faith matures when it learns to see beyond what is visible. It is in this place that your communion with me becomes deepest. I continue in your room, in your silence, in your questions, and even in the pauses that you don't understand. You think that the moments when you did not find answers were empty, but I tell you that they were filled with my presence. While you were waiting for a clear direction, I was already shaping your heart so that you could walk not only for answers, but for trust in me. Silence has never been an abandoned space. It has always been a place where my voice spoke most deeply to your spirit. You think you've wasted time waiting, but I tell you that every root I strengthen today will bear the fruit you'll see tomorrow. Just as the tree first grows downwards before growing upwards, I am also deepening its identity before revealing what I have prepared for its journey. The world values what appears. I value what remains. This is why my work begins at the roots of your soul, where no storm can reach. Before transforming your story before man, I am already transforming you before me. I am renewing your consciousness, purifying your intentions, strengthening your trust, and teaching you to rest in my love. You think that the greatest miracle will be what people see, but I tell you that the greatest miracle already happens when your heart learns to stand firm even before any outward change. It is in this place that his true identity flourishes. My word declares, "For the things visible are temporal, and the things invisible are eternal." 2 Corinthians 4:18. It is also written, "Search me, O God, and know my heart. Test me and know my thoughts. See if there is any evil way in me, and lead me in the way everlasting." Psalm 139:23-24. As you continue to listen to me, I am already answering that prayer. I am revealing who you really are in my presence, removing that which does not belong to your identity, and strengthening that which is born of my love. When your eyes finally contemplate the fruits, your soul will recognize that it all began much earlier, in that invisible place where I remain by your side, in your room, in your silence, and in the depths of your heart. If this message is confirming what you already felt in your heart, write in the comments, "I trust in God's action." Before continuing, remain in my presence for a moment longer, because that which you have called waiting has never been an empty space. It was the place where my hand worked more deeply than your eyes could perceive. My son, you think that the wait was an emptiness, but I tell you that each moment of silence was a place where I was rebuilding what the wounds tried to destroy. As you looked back on the days passing and wondered why nothing seemed to happen, my presence was already restoring parts of your soul that had remained bruised for too long. You could only see time passing. I saw a life being transformed. You measured your walk by the days of the calendar. I measured its growth by the roots that were already finding deeper and deeper waters. You think you have wasted time waiting, but I tell you that I was preparing the ground. Just as the seed remains hidden in the earth before breaking through the soil, its new identity also needed to be born away from human eyes. The hidden place was never a punishment, it was a care. If the seed appeared before its time, it would not withstand the wind. If its roots were not strengthened first, any storm could bring it down. That is why I remained working in the unseen while you believed that everything was at a standstill. As you counted the days, I counted the roots that had already strengthened within you. Every tear deepened his confidence. Each silence strengthened their sensitivity to my voice. Each prayer made in your room has made room for my peace to occupy places where before there was only fear and restlessness. You looked at the clock expecting quick changes. I looked at his soul, forming a steadfastness that would remain when all other things changed. You think that darkness meant lack of direction, but I tell you that it was the soil where I hid the seed of your new identity. Just as the earth covers the seed to protect it as it grows, so I covered your life with my care while doing work that no one could see. What seemed to be a standstill was depth. What seemed to be a delay was maturation.
What seemed like silence was my voice, working where words could not reach. My word declares, those who wait on the Lord will renew their strength. They will mount up with wings like eagles. They shall run and not be weary. They will walk and not grow weary. Isaiah 40:31. It is also written, it is good to wait for the salvation of the Lord, and that in silence. Lamentations 3:26. This wait was never a loss. It has always been an encounter between my faithfulness and your soul. As you continue to listen to me, I am already showing you that what seemed like only a time of waiting was actually the place where your life took deeper roots, your faith found new vigor, and your heart learned to recognize my presence not only in the answers but also in the silences that prepared you for all that is already blossoming in the unseen. Before continuing, allow my presence to reveal to your heart a profound truth. Often, that which you hope to see outside has already begun to be born within you. My son, you think that the revelation is still far away, but I tell you, it has already begun within you. You wait for a moment when everything will be clear, when all questions will find answers, and when your eyes will finally see what you have been waiting for. But I tell you that the greatest transformation does not begin when your eyes see a change all around. It begins when your soul learns to recognize my presence even before all things are revealed. Before your eyes notice any changes around you, your soul is already seeing with a light that didn't exist before. You may still look at some situations and see difficulties, but something inside you has already changed. The way you face the days is no longer the same. The way you endure struggles is no longer equal. There is a new perception growing within your heart, and this perception was born because I am already illuminating places that previously remained hidden. You think that the greatest miracle will be that which I will do before people, but I tell you that the greatest miracle is that which I am already doing in silence within you. Before changing scenarios, I transform hearts. Before opening outer doors, I prepare the soul to pass through them. Before I give anything into your hands, I strengthen that which holds your hands. Because he who receives a blessing without being prepared may not be able to remain in it. The mystery is not just what I will do. Mystery is all that I have ever accomplished while you believed you were just waiting. You thought you were standing still, but I was moving your consciousness. You thought you were alone, but I was deepening your fellowship with me. You thought nothing was happening, but I was removing old ways of thinking and creating within you a new way of looking at your own story. Just as the disciples walked beside me without fully recognizing who I was, there are also times when you walk without realizing the dimension of my presence. But the moment comes when the eyes of the soul open, and that which has always been close becomes evident. My word declares, then the eyes of both of them were opened, and they knew him. Luke 24:31. Revelation did not create my presence. It only allowed them to perceive what was already there. It is also written, call unto me, and I will answer thee, and show unto thee great and hidden things, which thou knowest not. Jeremiah 33:3. As you seek understanding, I am already revealing profound truths to your heart. I am showing that your story was not guided only by what happened before your eyes, but mainly by what I built within you while no one else saw it. Your soul is already awakening to a greater reality, and what once seemed to be just waiting
begins to reveal that it was a path of discovery of my constant presence. My son, stay with me, because there is a victory that you may not have yet noticed. It didn't begin when circumstances changed, but when my presence began to transform that which no one could see within you. My son, you think that your greatest victory will be when everything changes around you, but I tell you, your greatest victory has already happened when your soul stopped belonging to fear. For a long time, you believed that winning meant only seeing doors opened, problems solved, and situations restored. But I show you something deeper. The greatest achievement was when fear ceased to be the master of your thoughts, and my presence began to occupy the place where insecurity once existed. You think that you are still bound by the same chains as before, but I tell you that I have already broken through invisible chains that no human eye could see. There were thoughts that limited his steps. There were memories that kept his soul stuck in the past. There were words that were said about you that tried to define your worth. But I have already walked through these hidden places of your heart. I've touched wounds that no one knew about. I have already begun a restoration that happens first in the silence of the soul. You think that your freedom will come only when circumstances are different, but I tell you that true freedom begins when that which was within you loses the power to control your life. Fear may continue to try to knock on the door, but it no longer finds the same place to stay. Doubt may try to raise its voice, but my truth speaks deeper. Guilt may try to remember the past, but my grace is already revealing a new identity. Just as a rusty chain loses its strength, bit by bit, until it breaks completely, I am already weakening that which has tried to bind your soul for years. Perhaps you still perceive marks of the ancient battle, but I tell you that marks do not mean imprisonment. They are testimonies of places where my hand has already passed. What once controlled your decisions begins to lose ground because my presence is strengthening your consciousness. My word declares, if the Son sets you free, you will be free indeed. John 8:36. This freedom does not depend only on what happens outside.
It begins in the secret place of the heart, where I find you and reveal who you really are. And it is also written, for God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power, of love, and of a sound mind. 2 Timothy 1:7. I am already placing within you a strength that is not born from the absence of difficulties, but from the certainty that my presence remains greater than any challenge. My son, look at your journey with new eyes. You are no longer the one who started this journey carrying the same weights. I am already transforming your perception, strengthening your faith, and showing that the greatest battle was not only against what was outside, but against what tried to define who you were inside.
Now your soul begins to understand that true freedom was born the moment you discovered that you were never alone. In the next few minutes, my son, I will show you something that can be a direct sign from me for your life. Don't leave now. My child, continue with me, because there are signs of my presence that do not appear before your eyes, but are revealed when your soul learns to perceive what I am already doing within you. My son, you think you need more signs to be sure of my presence,
but I tell you, the greatest sign has always been the silent transformation that I was already working within you. You expected my answer to be accompanied by something great, something that everyone could see. But I was working in the place where few people can look. I was touching his mind, strengthening his heart, and rebuilding his identity to a level that no circumstance could reach. You think that you are still the same person as before because there are still challenges on the way. But I tell you that you have already changed. Just as the tree does not listen to the growth of its roots, you have also not realized how much you have already been transformed. The tree does not see the depth it has reached underground. It just stands firm when the winds come in. In the same way, you may not realize all the changes my presence has already wrought in you, but they show in the way you continue to stand. After all that you have faced, You think that your strength was born out of favorable circumstances, but I tell you that your strength was born from my presence dwelling in you. It wasn't because every day was easy. It wasn't because all the answers came quickly.
It was because, even on the hard days, there was something inside you that kept telling you not to give up. That hope that remained when all seemed contrary was a mark of my presence sustaining your soul. You think that you need to wait for a great event to realize that I am near, but I tell you that each small transformation already carries the proof of my care. The peace that began to replace anxiety. The courage that appeared after so many fears. The ability to forgive what once hurt. The will to continue when you believed you couldn't. All of this reveals that my work is already happening, like a hidden spring that feeds a river before it appears on the surface. My presence continues to flow within you. The world observes results, but I observe roots. The world seeks visible changes, but I strengthen first that which will sustain all other areas of your life. Before the fruits appear on the branches, life is already happening at the root. My word declares, Christ in you, the hope of glory. Colossians 1:27. That hope is not far away. It already dwells within you, and it is also written, He who abides in me, and I in him, the same bears much fruit. For apart from me you can do nothing. John 15:5. Abiding in me is where your life finds true strength. It is where your soul learns to rest. It is where your identity ceases to depend on what happens outside and begins to be grounded in what I have already established within you. My child, perhaps you are still looking for proof of my presence, but I tell you, look within. Look at the person you became after the storms. Notice the faith that remained. See the roots that grew in silence. You didn't get here alone. I was present at every step, sustaining you in ways that your eyes are still learning to recognize. My son, stay with me, because there are parts of your story that you have tried to forget. But I am still revealing the hidden meaning behind each of them. My son, you think that some parts of your story have been wasted, but I tell you, I have not left any detail unpurposed. You look at some chapters of your life and see only losses, delays, and moments that you would like to erase. But I look at the same story and see places where your soul has grown, where your faith has been strengthened, and where your dependence on me has become deeper. Nothing you have experienced has been left out of my hands. You think those nights when you cried alone were just moments of pain, but I tell you that they were also places where your faith took deeper root. When no one saw your tears, I saw your perseverance. When no one heard your silent prayers, I heard the cry of your heart. While you believed that you were just trying to survive, I was forming within you a strength that could not be born in easy days. You think your scars are memories of defeat, but I tell you that I am already turning every one of them into a memory of survival. A scar is not just the mark of a wound. It is also proof that a wound failed to destroy you. Each brand carries a story of overcoming. Each difficult memory reveals that you have crossed places that once seemed impossible to overcome. I don't just remove the pain. I also reveal the meaning that was born through it. You think that some endings were the closure of your story, but I tell you that many times they were just doors to a new beginning. You saw a farewell. I saw a preparation. You saw a loss. I saw space being created for something I couldn't see yet. Just as a seed needs to leave an old form to transform into a new life, some phases needed to end so that a new part of you could be born. You think that time has taken too much from you, but I tell you that I am still able to restore that which seemed lost. My restoration does not mean just giving back what has passed. Often it means turning your story into something even deeper. I take that which seemed broken and reveal a beauty that you never imagined existed. I even use the pieces that you believed were no longer valuable. My word declares, we know that all things work together for good to those who love God. Romans 8:28. And it is also written, I will restore to you the years that have been consumed. Joel 2:25. I know the years that seemed lost. I know the dreams that fell by the wayside. I know the parts of your story that still hurt when you remember. But as you continue to listen to me,
I am already showing that nothing has been wasted. Each step has contributed to forming the person you are becoming in my presence, because I have never worked only with what has happened to you, but with what I am already building within you. My son, stay with me, because there is a light that has already begun to shine before your eyes even perceive the change.
What seems hidden to you has never been hidden to me. My son, you think that darkness still hides the way, but I tell you, the dawn has already begun, long before you see the first light. You look at the night and believe that nothing is happening because your eyes still can't perceive the arrival of day. But I tell you that transformation begins before manifestation. Before the sky changes color, before the first rays appear, the dawn is already being prepared in the invisible. This is my action in your life. I first illuminate the invisible, then the visible only reflects what has already happened within your soul. You wait for circumstances to change so that you believe that I am working. But I tell you that my work begins in places that no person can observe. I touch your thoughts, I strengthen your heart, I renew your hope. All of this happens before anyone notices a change around them. You think you are still walking in the dark, but I tell you that your soul is already learning to walk by my light. Maybe your eyes still see questions, but your heart is already beginning to experience a different peace. Perhaps there are still situations without answers, but inside you there is already a certainty that was not present before. This certainty is the fruit of my presence. It is born when you stop depending only on what you see and start trusting what I'm already doing. Just as a plant grows toward the light even when no one observes its movement, so too is your life being led by my presence. You don't hear every root getting stronger. You don't see every cell growing, but life keeps happening. In the same way, I am already working on parts of your story that remain hidden from human eyes. Silence does not mean absence. Waiting does not mean abandonment. The darkness does not mean that the light has disappeared. You think you need to understand all the details of the path to move forward, but I tell you that faith is born just when you learn to trust in the light you have already received. I don't need to reveal the entire road at once to take care of every step. My presence illuminates enough for today. My grace sustains the present moment. My hand keeps guiding you even when the path seems uncharted. My word declares, the light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not prevailed against it. John 1:5. And it is also written, the Lord shall be thy everlasting light, and thy God shall be thy glory. Isaiah 60:19. This light does not depend on circumstances. It does not diminish when difficulties arise. It remains because it comes from me. My son, as you continue to listen to me, I am already bringing clarity to places where confusion once existed. I'm revealing that your walk was never guided only by what your eyes could see. Dawn has already begun. The light has already been born in places that you are still learning to perceive. And what I illuminate within you, no one can erase. At the end of this message, you will feel my presence in a way that you may never have felt before. Stay with me until the end. My child, remain with me, because there are times when you believe you have strayed from me, but I was closer than ever, sustaining you in every breath and knowing every detail of your heart. My son, you think that my presence depends on your strength, but I tell you, I remained by your side, even in the days when you had no words to pray. You believed that you needed to come before me with perfect sentences, with a faith without doubt, and with an ever-strong heart. But I have never sought only your words. I have always seen your heart. I know the weight you carried in silence. I know the battles you have faced without telling anyone. I know even what you tried to hide from yourself. When your heart just sighed, I already understood every cry. When his eyes filled with tears and his mouth couldn't express what he was feeling, I already knew every request hidden within his soul. You think that the absence of words means distance, but I tell you that many times the silence of your heart spoke louder than any prayer. My presence does not depend on your ability to explain your pain. I already know every part of you before you can even understand it. You think that you have walked alone at times, but I tell you that you have never taken a single step without me sustaining your life. There were days when you thought you were just surviving. There were mornings when getting out of bed felt like a big battle. There were nights when his mind found no rest. But even in these places, my hand has remained holding you. When their strength waned, my grace continued to suffice. Just as a child rests in its father's arms without understanding everything that happens around it, so can its soul rest in me. You don't have to carry alone what I have already placed in my hands. You don't have to pretend that you're right before me. I don't shy away from your weakness. I approach her with love, because it is precisely in these places that you discover that you have never depended only on your own strength. My word declares, the Spirit intercedes for us with groanings too deep for words. Romans 8:26. This means that there are times when even that which you cannot say is already being presented before me. And it is also written, the Lord is near to them that are broken-hearted, and saves them that are contrite in spirit. Psalm 34:18. I am not far from your pains. I am near those places where your soul needs care the most. My son, look at your history and realize how many times you thought you couldn't go on, but you kept going. How many times did he believe that he would not have strength, but found a strength that he did not know he possessed? That force was my presence sustaining you. I was in the room where you cried. I was in the silence where you tried to understand. I was in the moments when no one noticed her struggle, and I continue here, revealing that you have never been abandoned, because my presence has always been holding your life before you even realize it. My son, you think that revelation ends when you find an answer, but I tell you, true revelation is discovering that I have been present in every chapter of your story. It was not only at the moment of victory that my hand was upon you. I was also in the hard road, the closed door, the prolonged wait, and that night when you thought you couldn't go on. I was there when his faith seemed small, when his strength seemed to run out, and when his heart almost gave up. You think you have reached the limit, but I tell you, you have reached the place where a new depth of my presence often begins. There are times when I allow your own strength to diminish so that you discover that you have never walked sustained by them alone. What you call the end, I call the transition. What you call delay, I call preparation. What you call silence, I call a place where my voice is forming something within you. My son, I know the tiredness that you have not told anyone. I know the tears that fell when you were alone. I know that question hidden in your heart. How long? And today I tell you, do not abandon the path at the moment when the root is deepest. Many seeds disappear before they bloom. Many dawns seem more distant, just as the night is coming to an end. You think that the long wait means that nothing is happening, but I tell you that the deepest waiting often precedes the most powerful transformation. As you counted the days, I worked on the details. As you looked at the clock, I looked at your soul. I was preparing you to receive not only what you asked for, but to stand firm when it comes. Now you begin to realize that nothing was an accident. I had already prepared meetings that strengthened you. I had already allowed deliverances that you never knew. I had previously used silences to teach your soul to listen. I had already used weights to build an identity that does not depend only on circumstances. Everything was being led by my hands. My word declares, all things were made through him, and without him was not anything made that was made. John 1:3. And it is also written, the steps of a good man are established by the Lord, and he delights in his way. Psalm 37:23. I confirm your steps even when you don't understand the road. I keep guiding you even when the vision seems limited. My son, do not allow the weight of the last stretch to make you forget the distance you have already traveled. Don't just look at what's still missing. See also all that I have already transformed. You are closer than you think. The process that seemed endless is revealing its purpose. The door that seemed far away is already facing the right moment. Stand firm, because I have not wasted a day of your history, and nothing I have built in you has been in vain. My son, you think that I entered your room only to speak to you, but I tell you, I entered to restore the place where your identity was wounded. I entered the spaces of your soul where you kept pains that no one knew.
I went into the thoughts you never revealed, the memories that still carried weight, and the parts of your heart that you believed would never be restored. This room, where you cried in silence, was not just a place of sadness.
I transformed this environment into a meeting place. While the world did not see your tears, I was present. While no one was noticing their inner battles, I was strengthening their soul.
The place where you thought you were alone became an invisible altar where your weakness found my strength and where your silence became a profound form of communion with me. You think your downfalls have defined who you are, but I tell you, you are not the end product of your mistakes. You are not the sum of your failures, your fears, or the words they said about you. You belong to me. Before anyone pointed out their limitations, I already knew their heart.
Before the world put labels on your life, I had already written your identity into my presence. I don't call you by the name of your downfalls. I don't look at you through your hardest moments. I call you by the name I know. I see what I put inside you before the pains tried to hide it. I see the essence that remained even after the storms. I see the faith that lived on when you thought it was all over. You think you need to go back to who you were before the pain, but I tell you that I am forming someone deeper, more conscious, and more grounded in me. I didn't just restore broken parts. I have revealed a new understanding of who you are. The wound does not have the final word. The past has no authority to define your future. Your story doesn't end with the chapter you fell into. Just as a craftsman works a valuable piece by removing that which prevents its beauty from appearing, I am also revealing the image that I have put on you. I'm not creating a stranger. I am revealing who you have always been in my intention. You are not forgotten. You are not abandoned. You are not invisible. You are my child, known, loved, and cared for by me. My word declares, but when you pray, go into your room, and when you have shut the door, pray to your Father who is in secret. Matthew 6:6. It is also written, for we are the temple of the living God. 1 Corinthians 6:16. I don't just dwell in places visible to human eyes. I work in the secret. I transform environments of pain into places of encounter. I go where no one else can enter and restore what no one else can touch. My son, the room where you shed tears was also the place where I strengthened your identity. The silence where you felt forgotten was the place where I reaffirmed that you belong to me. And now you begin to understand that my presence was never limited to what you could feel, because I was already writing a new story within you. My son, I have come to the end of this message together with you, and I want to thank you for staying here. I know every minute that your attention was led by these words, and I know that your soul needed to hear this truth. You didn't get to this moment by chance. I have allowed this message to find your heart because there is something that I am already revealing within you. Your perseverance has value before me. There is a spiritual blessing for those who remain to the end, because a persevering heart learns to recognize my voice, even when the path seems difficult. You overcame distractions, overcame moments of doubt, and came here to remember that I am still present in your room, in your silence, and in the deepest places of your soul. I want you to keep this message, not just as words, but as a reminder of my presence watching over you. When the difficult days come, remember that I remain your shelter, your strength, and your direction. Nothing you have faced has been ignored by me, and not a tear has been forgotten by me. I was present when you thought about giving up, and remained holding your hand when it seemed like there was no way out. I also want you to celebrate this journey of faith. Write in the comments, I watched until the end and also put the city where you are so that I can see the union of my children scattered in so many places. Keep sharing this word of hope. By liking this video, you help this message reach other hearts that need to remember that they are not alone. By sharing and subscribing to this channel, you participate in this mission to bring faith, consolation, and renewal to lives that need to hear my voice. I bless your home, your family, and your paths. May my peace remain upon you during the evenings and mornings. May your mind find rest, may your heart find hope, and may your soul continue to recognize my presence in every detail of your history. I declare upon your life a new season of faith, hope, and renewal. May you walk, knowing that my hand continues to guide your steps, and that no challenge will be greater than the strength I place within you. Stand firm, because my grace accompanies your journey, and my love remains constant every day of your walk. I remain close to you, and I never abandon the one who trusts in me with sincerity. Allow God to continue speaking to your heart. Take the next step in this journey by watching the next video that will appear here on the screen. In it, we will continue to learn how to live in God's presence and experience the fullness of His plans. Don't stop here, because God still has much more to speak to you. Always remember, God is greater, and His presence is our strength. Trust Him, and He will do infinitely more than you can imagine. May God bless your life, and see you in the next video.